Hey everyone, welcome back. So our last guest is an award-winning Bronx-based writer who's helping Latinx women find their voices and tell their stories. Through her Robleswrites production, she's been able to create the Abuela Stories project and most recently, La Libreta. Her work has been featured on HBO Habla Women, Lincoln Center, Smithsonian Institute Museum of the American Indian, Pan America, World Voices Festival, and Pregones, and that's just to name a few. But bueno, she's here to tell us more about her projects and workshops. Everyone, please welcome poet, author, Peggy Robles-Alvarado. Yeah. I'm actually the most excited because I think the last time we had you on was 2017,
I want to say even 2010.
2010. Ouch, we're dating ourselves. But it's okay because I think it was your first book, Conversations with My Skin, and now you're like what, 3, 4, 5 books in. I don't know if you identify as the author of these projects, but just this bring us up to speed, Mamita, because all this work that you've been doing is phenomenal, and congratulations on your Jerome Hill Foundation Fellow.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very invested in community-based work. I really believe that women of color need to be published, and if it's my job to disrupt the publishing landscape in some way where it can benefit our writers, then I'm going to do that. So all of these projects, I come up with them because I really am vested in just seeing women write their stories. I really believe that we are born storytellers. We're born poets, and our words and stories really, really matter. And as women, we're part of the cultural producers and people that sustain cultures. So that's part of my mission in life. That is my love work, to be able to create spaces.
But well, yeah, from what I understand, because I don't even want to allow this segment to end without mentioning that one of your students was adamant in sending us a love note on your behalf to have you on without knowing that you and I already have a relationship. And I just found that to be so admirable and so sweet that I was like, oh my gosh, Peggy, I haven't had Peggy on.
I've always said, I want to be that person that has and creates community ties. I want to be the person that can branch out and just say, these are people that are in my tribe, that I know that I've given enough kindness and care to them that they will be reciprocal, and it's been happening. It's crazy because we've known each other for so long, and for her to be like, I really want to connect you two, I thought it was great. It was a wonderful conversation.
Talk about full circle, but really I'm saying all of that to say that there's obviously a sense of nurturing that you provide in order for them to for lack of a better word, almost show you off. It's kind of like, let me show you my writing mentor, please, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet, because I have a relationship to Carmen Bitar, right? In a different form, but really this is about what you're offering in your services and the impact that you're having. So let's talk about the different programs so that people are clear about what it is that you're doing with these Latinx stories.
Well, Robleswrites Productions is a literary arts organization, and what we do is that we create intergenerational community healing through literacy, creativity, and equity for the Bronx primarily, but also beyond. Thanks to Zoom and platforms like this, we can reach our community, but also expand out. And we're trying to disrupt the publishing landscape. Part of that is to provide either free or low-cost generative writing workshops. We want to get people writing. Our stories are very limited out there. You know this. We can't be the maid of every screenplay. We can't just be this niche that they've created for us. So in order to do that, we create generative writing workshops, but we also have professional development sessions for writers, because we're not taught the business side of writing. Even if you have an MFA, you're never taught how to create a CV, how to write up a business plan for an idea, or even a project budget. So we do professional development sessions. We also do private consultations, and we curate public readings and performances. That's a big deal for me. I want to make sure that people who have never performed before get on a stage and read their work to an audience. So far, as of June 2021, and this number has increased already, we served 1,567 writers just with our programming. And that's increased so far. And even though our target market are women of color, I heard the call from men who are coming to the workshops and were like, you know, we need a safe space. We need a space where we want to heal and write. So just recently this month, for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, we had Paul de la Torre facilitate 3 virtual sessions, and they were so well received. And it was our pilot program. I wanted to see, you know, how this would work, if it would work, and it did. So we're thinking about expanding programming now for our men because they also need a place. And all of this was facilitated through community involvement. You know, I send out surveys and I ask questions and I'm like, what do you need? And what can we provide? And I'm very lucky to receive a lot of micro grants from poets and writers. Shout out to Bronx Council on the Arts, because if it wasn't for these micro grants, I would have never started Robleswrites Productions. So, and super shout out to Jerome Hill Foundation Fellowship, because that grant has allowed me to kind of, you know, expand and the freedom to expand programming that makes sense to our community. So yeah, I'm really excited. And then we have the Abuela Stories digital online archive where anyone can send in a grandmother story. And I want to emphasize that these grandmother stories do not have to be joyful. You know, they can be grandmother stories that you just want to expel from your body. So we've been receiving them and archiving them online at abuelastories.com. And our latest endeavor was launched on the last day of Poetry Month this year, which is La Libreta.online. And it's an online poetry journal for women of color. You can submit audio poems, written poetry, and visual art. And our deadline for this one is December 1st, but we have we publish 3 times a year. So if you miss this one, you can get on the next one. And we make it a point to publish people, yes, that are seasoned poets, because we want to have that great mix. But we also publish people that, like Carmen Vitar, who had never published before, who kept saying, I'm not a writer, I'm not a writer. And I was like, yes, you are. So if you're unsure as to like, well, I want to send the poem, but I don't know how to do this, send it anyway. We tend to really care about the people that submit. And if it needs work, we'll be honest and we'll say, listen, let's work on it. Let's edit it. Let's help it out. But don't ever fear rejection. Rejection sometimes is just redirection.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we provide a lot of support. And our goal is to really publish women writers of color and to get our stories out there.
Oh,
and I especially look for poems that I know are culturally specific, that have indigenous languages, that have amalgamations of languages, because I know that they probably would get rejected in the mainstream canons, right? So we welcome that. We're like, bring it on, let's get it.
All right. Well, I hope everybody's there's your open call, and here's your opportunity to get published and archived digitally and also be guided in the process. It's so lovely. Thank you so much for bringing it to our viewers. Peggy, she's going to perform for us too, because, you know, while she's over there facilitating everyone, she's still writing herself, and we're going to have the privilege of having her perform for us. So you guys don't go anywhere, because when we return, Peggy is going to recite one of her pieces for us when we return.